YouTube, I'm Jammin B. Hammond, and welcome to the second ever episode of Making Music with Attitude. So for this week's episode, I'm hoping that it will be a redemption to last week's episode, because last week the episode was very rushed and under a heavy time crunch, and I think it came out really poorly, so I'm hoping that this week's episode will be higher quality and more enjoyable to watch. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. First loading into FL Studio, I immediately knew I wanted to get rid of all the 808 instruments that came preloaded with the 808 template. And so after I deleted all the instruments, I knew I immediately wanted to use something from the Flex plugin. Because last time when I used the Flex plugin, I learned just how valuable this plugin is and how versatile it is in encompassing literally anything that you'd ever need. And so when I first plugged it in, all I did was mess around and look for a cool sounding instrument. Alright, 70s bounce.
A few moments later.
Okay. So when I'm thinking villain, I just ended up using this one because it sounded good. And this one as well, because it also sounded good. Oh, this kind of works. Yes, it very works. It works very well. Let's try creating a pattern. 130 BPM, is that something I don't want to work with? I went through a lot of different ones and just stuck with 95 at the end. So let's try 95. That might be better. Hooray! Finally recorded the first pattern for this song. Long way to go still. A long way to go. Okay, that sounded a little better. So for now, let's put that into our pattern. Call this 80s Strings Intro. So now let's add a second instrument to become our supporting harmony. Remember this? Yeah, that's what we're using. Oh, I like the grunginess of the song. I'm not going to use it in the immediate next pattern, but definitely going to hold on to that plugin. And now comes all the instruments that didn't make the cut compilation. All of this sorting, and I finally found the one that I was going to use. Pattern on this one. Alright, let's try making a pattern with this. And indeed, I did. I don't know if it will be immediately after the first part, but for now, let's try recording that pattern. We'll just call this digital. Digital intro. Would it sound good with just C? Yes, it would, and that is exactly what I went with. So let's look for different instruments. So at this point in the project, I finally got the beginning down and I started to really get a feel for what would come in the future. This is day 2 of making Tragic Fill-In. There we go, that's better, that's better. The initial half of the song was basically completely developed and it was just all refining and making it better in terms of dynamics and filters. But of course, that takes a while to figure out. Call it riser. This one. So skipping ahead, after making some good progress on the chorus, I was very excited. Like very excited. Oh, okay, that sounds pretty good actually. Alright, so after this intense part, I think it would be amazing to conclude it with a very sentimental and very sad kind of ending. This never ended up happening. The bridge was a bit sappy-ish, but no, the ending was not sentimental. Basically someone who was gaslit. What did end up happening though was I was able to get a relatively sympathetic bridge part with a very powerful ending. I think that was better than what I originally planned for this music. So without further ado, here is this week's song, which I decided to call Tragic Villain.